Welcome, citizens, to Liberty, Tales from the Tower. As your media director, it is my privilege to inform you that the following stories will contain content that some listeners will certainly find disturbing. But first, we here at Tower 4 have a few brief announcements. An update regarding AB3 programming. The interview with the parents of child protege Sheriff Ushiba has been rescheduled for next week. While we are all eager to hear from the proud Ushibas regarding the raising of young citizen sheriffs, we can be assured that this delay is for a commendable reason. At the young age of 12, the astonishing citizen Sheriff Ushiba will receive her doctorate mark in a private ceremony later this week. Soon-to-be Dr. Ushiba is a shining example of the citizenship we should all aim to achieve for the betterment of Atreus. Congratulations to the Ushiba family, and may the Archon watch over you. For our own marketing here at AB3, we would like to thank you, valued citizen, for listening to our broadcasts. Each listener, each fan, builds a stronger community and improves what we here at AB3 are able to do with our stories. It is with my heartfelt gratitude that we thank every citizen who has rated and reviewed our broadcast. If you've not done so, please consider giving our broadcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Together with your support, we can truly bring our broadcasts to life. But on the topic of bringing something to life, tonight's tale, Pinprick, was written by K.A. Statz and is read for us by Michelle Frank Merksamer. A few decades ago, something strange happened in District 9. Let's learn more.
My son is not doing as well as expected. I expect neither perfection nor excellence, but I know his usual standard, and he's falling below his own established norm. His instructors from multiple subjects have contacted me: mathematics, biology, chemistry, planetary sciences. They all have concerns. He used to be near the top of his class. I know he is not the top of his class, but he was close. So knowing he is slipping to the lower quarter is disconcerting. Worse yet, Plinius is growing increasingly aggressive. My friends consistently have told me that it may be normal for boys his age to act out. I don't feel like this is normal. Several days ago, Plinius arrived home agitated and tired, and made a mess of his pack the moment he entered the door. I received a notification on my datapad within minutes of his return. It was from one of his instructors. Plinius was being reprimanded for violent actions against a fellow student. He had never been violent before, but now I really couldn't be sure.
Plinius, did you get into a fight at your courses?
Plinius sprawled over the sofa, switching quickly between broadcast channels. He didn't respond to me. I don't know if he heard me, but he had never knowingly ignored me before.
Plinius, did you get into a fight?
I don't think my voice was overly stern.
I broke it, and I'd break it again. Break yours, too.
Plinius was clenching a fist and pressing it into the sofa. I had never seen this side of him, never seen him act this way. Plinius would never speak that way.
Broke what, Plinius?
Broke what, Plinius? Nothing. Again. He refused to answer, refused to acknowledge the question. I gave up. I didn't really give up. That sounds so horrible to say, but I had a busy day tomorrow, and I honestly didn't have the time to deal with his recent antics. I prepared meal for myself and set aside some for him on the counter. If he wanted to eat, he'd eat. That's what growing boys do without fail. Otherwise, I had several research articles to read before tomorrow's presentation, and the rest of tomorrow's schedule also appeared fully booked. I spent the evening hours preparing for work, but as I finally readied myself for sleep, I went out into the kitchen and spotted Plinius. He was fast asleep on the sofa, calmer than I'd seen him hours ago. Look who's so tough and bold now. Amused by his small snores, I lifted him up and carried him off to his room. As I was placing him in his bed, I discovered little dots on his skin. They appeared to be small sections of broken blood vessels, and his veins stood out prominently in the immediate area surrounding the bruises and damage. Well, that'll teach you to fight. I bet you'll feel very sore in the upcoming days." I took off his socks and placed his bag next to the bed. I tucked the sheet over him. Sure, he was being a little menace, but he wasn't always. This was new and uninvited. "What's wrong with you recently?" "No thanks, Mom. No problem, Mom." Nothing. But I was tired, and as sleep began to sound more and more enticing, I placed these problems in the back of my mind. I closed his door all but completely and walked to my room. It would feel wonderful once this issue was just the forgotten stress of yesterday. Days went on. My coworkers tried to give me encouraging words. "He's just acting out, Rufina. It is just a phase. It will be over before you know it, Rufina." The stress of going home and dealing with my own son had become unnerving. I missed the peace, and I missed who he had been. I love him. He's my son. But he barely seemed like my little Plinius anymore. One morning, I awoke as usual to my alarm's ring, an enduring buzz that filled my room. My body ached, and every muscle seemed to be in disagreement with its purpose. The buzzing didn't stop when I shut off the alarm. It continued as a horrid pulsing in my head that felt worse than any migraine I had previously suffered. I was exhausted and entirely unprepared to face the day, or even the morning. I ached through movement and muscle memory. I dressed for my morning athletics and stepped, lightheaded and weak, onto the treadmill. I don't know what I was thinking, stepping onto a treadmill the way I felt. I barely made it 20 steps before my legs collapsed beneath me. The whole of my body felt ill. When the weight of my body hit the treadmill, it came to an emergency stop, and I rolled to the floor. "Plinius? Plinius?" I had not awoken Plinius yet, and I wasn't sure if he could even hear me. He could be a heavy sleeper. I waited a moment more, but when I heard nothing, I looked for alternatives. I spotted the data pad on the kitchen counter. If I could just reach it, I could call for medical services. My arms were so weak and my legs were rubber beneath me. Rallying strength seemed impossible, and I hung my head in defeat. It was only then I spied a large bruise on my arm. Blotchy in blue and red, there was a noticeably large singular circular dot centered in the wound. I called out to Plinius again. "Plinius!" Tiny, fast footfalls foreshadowed the arrival of Plinius to the doorframe.
"Mother, what's wrong?"
When I looked up, I saw a Plinius I had not seen in weeks. He was bright and energetic, but his face was washed over with worry. "Plinius, dear, I'm ill today. Can you get Mommy her data pad? Please." Plinius ran over to the counter and fetched the data pad.
"You have a message, Mommy."
"Thank you. I'll get to it later." As I fumbled the data pad and typed in a message to medical services, I could see worry in Plinius's eyes. "Go get ready for your courses, Plinius. Someone is going to be coming over to help Mommy later. Be sure not to miss your train." I put down the data pad, and Plinius turned to head to the bathroom. "Wait! Plinius, get me a pillow, please, before you go. Please."
"No, Mom, I'll help you up."
Plinius walked over and put his little arms around me. With a strength more so of an athletic teenager than a young child, he lifted me up and walked me over to my bed. I was shocked but too ill to respond. And more so, I was relieved to be on the bed as the worst of my aches and pains subsided. "Thank you, Plinius. That was very nice of you, but you should go now. Get ready or you will miss your train. I'm sure your friends want to see you today." I closed my eyes and lay down on the bed. The world spun. A glimmer of light came from the room around me. A few noises. and I fell back to sleep. A knock rattled the metal of the bedroom door.
Dr. Okamura?
I could just barely determine that it was the woman from the neighboring apartment, Dr. Williamson. I heard some words, but not all of them,
Rest.
about
I'm
medical
going to contact
services,
medical services.
help, rest, and check-in, but mostly I slept. Before I knew it, nearly 6 hours had passed in my deep slumber, and I awoke hungry and aching. I awaited the arrival of Plinius back from his courses, but my datapad blinked with a new message. I hit play.
Dr. Rufina Okamura, we dispatched a medic to you earlier today. It was determined that you needed significant rest and that it appears you lost a lot of blood. Our in-home services already administered intravenous fluids, but due to your need for significant rest, we determined that you are no longer currently fit to care for your son Plinius until you've had ample time to recover. Your son has been placed within the care of your neighbors, the Williamsons. Please do not worry, you'll be fine. Another medical technician will be by tomorrow to check on you and administer another round of intravenous fluids. Special meal has been provided. It is on your bedside table. Please take the time to recover. You should know that your office has already been informed of your medical absence. Recover well, and may the Archon watch over you.
I didn't try to sit up. Everything the message tried to convey was lost under the words, "No longer currently fit to care for your son." I couldn't argue. I could scarcely move, but the idea filled me with dread. I turned my head slowly to see the drink and meal provided for me. It took me 20 minutes to eat a few meager bites that day. With daily visits from in-home medical services, I still needed 3 days to recover from whatever had happened. When I was finally strong enough to be up and walking around on a regular basis, I went to the hallway and knocked on the door of the Williamsons. Nice people, both doctors in their respective fields. Plinius and I had dinner with them about twice a year, and also exchanged greetings with them on the holidays. I knocked weakly against the door, and resorted to the doorbell when I was sure my knocking had gone unheard. When the door finally opened, I was met by the concerned face of Dr. Williamson. I remembered seeing her before, in my dazed state.
Dr. Okamura, how are you feeling? Plinius is doing fine, but you look very pale. Please go home and lay back down. I can call my husband to check on you if needed. You shouldn't be up and about yet. Not the way you look.
She was right. I did feel rather horrible still. Standing in the hall for so long was a battle of its own. Yes, thank you for your concern. But is Plinius doing well?
He's doing fine. Do not worry yourself. Just go and get yourself better.
She wrapped an arm around my shoulder and walked me over to my apartment door. Can I see him?
Oh, dear. It's currently class time. He's not in. Please go rest. You're confused.
She walked me back to my apartment and opened the door. I walked straight to my bed. Plinius was fine. Dr. Williamson was correct. I was tired, and I had not thought to check the time. I went to sleep quickly. At some point, a medical technician came in and treated me. I ate a few bites, but I was quickly back to sleep. I woke the next day with more vigor. I checked the time. Plinius should be home at the Williamsons. It was so quiet without him, without his music, without the broadcasts playing. I walked over to the Williamsons again and knocked. Harder this time. Dr. Williamson opened the door again. Hello, thank you for your help yesterday. I'm feeling much better today. Is Plinius in?
No, dear. Sorry. You've been sleeping for so long, I guess you would not know. Today, the students went on a trip to the Sea Planetarium. He left for courses late today and won't be home for several more hours. You don't have to worry. Just rest.
She placed a hand on my arm. Her face lit up for a moment.
I have his recent progress report saved on my datapad if you'd like to see it. Go back to your apartment and get comfortable. I'll meet you there in a moment.
I walked back to the apartment. The Z Planetarium is wonderful. If Plinius enjoyed the visit, maybe I could take him back one day. They host so many events, and I would have loved to share that time with him. As I sat down on my sofa, Dr. Williamson walked in, datapad in hand.
His marks have been rising. I think his worrying for you has really settled him down.
Dr. Williamson was talking, but I was focused on the numbers before me. Plinius seemed to be doing so well now. It put me at ease, but I was missing my son deeply at this point. Can you wake me when he comes in for the day? My recent strength seemed short-lived, and I was already tiring out.
You should just rest. I'm not exactly sure when he'll be back. He's fine, Okamura, so please don't worry yourself.
She stood up and walked to the door, departing with a small smile. I ate a meal canister, rested on the sofa with a broadcast, showered on shaky legs, and went to bed soon after. The next day, I returned to the Williamsons' door. It was no longer course time, and I wanted to ask my son about the Z Planetarium. I wanted to see his face. I knocked, and Dr. Williamson opened the door. I want to see Plinius. I miss him, and I want to tell him that he can come home soon. I'm feeling so much better already.
He's not in.
He is. He must be in. He needs to be here. It is illogical that he would have 2 straight days of after-course activities. I wanted to see my son. I wanted to be sure he was okay. I wanted to see him smile. I even wanted him to roll his eyes at me.
He's not awake right now. He's taking a nap.
Dr. Williamson stood up a bit straighter, and she looked at me oddly. She no longer looked happy to see me. Please wake him up. I want to see my son. I stepped into the doorway. From behind the glaring Dr. Williamson, I heard greatly unsettling noise. A moan. A gagged yell or muffled screech ushered from a door at the end of their apartment. I am not a violent woman, but I pushed Dr. Williamson to the ground with as much weakened strength as I could muster and dashed towards the door. I was lightheaded by the time I reached it, but I was set on finding my son. The door was a slider, and I didn't have the key code. Hearing the moan again, I reached for a nearby object, a heavy, abstract art statue on the nearest table, and dashed it against the panes. A spark of electricity, the light flickered in and out, and the door slid open. Inside was a child, older than Plinius, and chained, strapped, and crazed. He looked abhorrent. His eyes were gleaming purple, and his pupils were massive. He was so pale that his skin was almost translucent, and his veins popped up, wrinkling his skin. I thanked the Archon that it wasn't Plinius. I turned my furious eyes on a shocked Dr. Williamson. Where is my son? I held the art sculpture back up, menacingly and with violent intent. Any energy that I had was aimed at her, aimed at finding Plinius. What the fuck is that? Where is my son? Dr. Williamson glared, her eyes narrowed and angry. She glanced at the apartment behind her, then moved quickly toward me. I tossed the sculpture in a bout of newfound adrenaline, and it cracked her across the side of the head. I heard her hit the ground as I rushed across the apartment. I opened every door. Bathroom, bedroom, locked. I smashed the lock open, and inside was a bedroom, and on the bed was Plinius, asleep, intravenous lines dripping something into him. Plinius! Plinius! I rushed over and slowly took the needles out. The liquid dripping from one was creamy and gleamed in the light. The other was dark red and smelt of copper.
Mommy?
Plinius opened his eyes and winced in pain as the needles came out. Yes, dear. Come on. We are leaving. Come on. I helped him out of the bed. He followed me, hand in hand. and I covered his eyes as we passed the bleeding Dr. Williamson on the floor. We got to the door, and down the hall of the apartment complex was the other Dr. Williamson returning home. His eyes widened when he saw me with Plinius, and he rushed toward us. I took as little time as I could to reach our apartment door, and I slammed it shut behind us. I called the Civil Defense Force and waited for the officers with heavy breath. My limbs felt numb. My head pounded. Dr. Williamson never knocked on the door and never tried to get Plinius back. When I briefly explained what happened, they informed me that both Dr. Williamsons were gone, and so was the person, that creature from that horrible room. They launched an investigation. There was no official record of my communications with medical services. It had all been blocked and filtered through Dr. Williamson. Their apartment was filled with illegal medical equipment, but they were nowhere to be found, even after a colony-wide manhunt. Within a week, the Public Works Division had cleaned out the apartment, and a new young couple moved in. Plinius was fine when I first got him back, but he slowly became more and more aggressive as time progressed. I asked him one day about what happened. He said the Williamsons were giving him shots to make him grow up big and strong. They were feeding him special food and made him sleep with needles in his veins. The Civil Defense Force contacted me back after a week. The red liquid I had found in the apartment being fed into Plinius was blood. More specifically, my blood. The Williamsons had been drugging me and draining me for weeks. But I've noticed something now. Plinius is becoming far more pale. I've been making him very special dinners recently to help him in the only way I can think of. I'm afraid they will take him away if they think he could turn out like that monstrous boy I found in that horrible apartment. So I feed him special meals to keep him happy and normal and not so pale. I'm so tired, but I love my son.
Thank you for listening to Liberty, Tales from the Tower. Pinprick was written by K.A. Statz. Tales from the Tower is co-created by K.A. Statz and Travis Vengroff. Pinprick was read for us by Michelle Frank Merksamer, Kristien Fernandez, Travis Vengroff, and Rikke Rømer. Produced and directed with sound design by Travis Vengroff and Rikke Rømer, music by Brandon Boone, and mixing and mastering by Finnur Nielsen. If you would like more information about the world of Atreus, please check out libertyendures.com. This production is copyright 2016 and 2025 by Fool and Scholar Productions, and Liberty is a trademark of Travis Vengroff. Thank you for listening. May the Archon watch over you.